sadly, for over 30 years of my life, my body and my mind were at war, and both of them were losing. On the sad diet, my mind was attempting to conquer and subdue my body in order to control my weight. I was hyper-focused on calorie counting. I was never satisfied with whatever weight I did achieve. The lower weight I got, the lower weight I wanted to be. And even when I was a very low weight, I was not healthy. From the outside, though, people looking at me probably didn't know or couldn't tell that I was not healthy, because normally in our society, we sort of put together that if someone has a low weight, if they're lean, then they're healthy. Like skinny equals health. And that I can unequivocally tell you is not true. Because I've been relatively thin my whole life. I don't think that I ever got out of the healthy BMI range with the exception of my pregnancies. I will say that during my second pregnancy, all the stops were off. I gained 60 pounds during my second pregnancy because I gave myself permission to do that, right? I was pregnant, I had an excuse. But anyways, outside of my 2 pregnancies, I never got above what was considered the healthy BMI range. And so since I was technically a healthy weight, everyone around me thought I was fine, even though I was not fine. I did not have good health. I was gaining and losing the same 20 pounds. I really can't even tell you how many times. I would like to estimate it, maybe 10 to 12 times. I don't know, more than I can count. Just gaining and losing that same 15 to 20 pounds on repeat over and over. So I was definitely malnourished from all of that, and my body and brain knew it, and so the war definitely raged on. So after my calorie count went so low, because I would just eat less and less and less, because you eat less, you lose weight, but then your body adjusts, your metabolism adjusts, and you stop losing. So you lower that calorie dial some more, and you lose a little more, and then you stop, and then you keep going until, my body was just so malnourished from that then it would roar back with a vengeance. Like, I'm starving here, do something about this. And so eventually I would give in to those cravings that my poor body was just trying to make up for all the times I didn't eat, everything that was missing, all the nutrition that I didn't get. It was trying to fix the damage that my brain's obsession had caused. It really felt almost like I was 2 parts or 2 halves of a whole, like my brain on one side, my body on the other, and they were each other's enemy. My brain constantly counting, going through calories, trying to reduce them, trying to lose weight, and my body saying, no, I can't take this anymore. This isn't working. You have to eat. And so those 2 sides were just constantly battling until finally, just because of eating all those carbs over all the years. So, it started in my teenage years, and then getting into my 30s, I was definitely seeing some signs of inflammation, because inflammation creeps up on you. You don't eat a cookie or, a bowl of ice cream and suddenly have all this inflammation, right? It sort of adds up over the years. And so in my 30s, I started to notice some of this inflammation. So some stiff joints, especially in my right hand, and especially if I would use it a lot. I'm right-handed. I would imagine if I was left-handed, then that inflammation probably would have shown up there. But since I'm right-handed and I do mostly use my right hand for things like writing or using a computer mouse or any of those things, at the end of the day, my right hand would ache. And I know for a fact that my grandmother, especially on my mom's side, had some very severe rheumatoid arthritis. And I feel as though, who knows, I've never been tested, but perhaps, genetically, I could have been heading in that direction. I definitely had some knee pain, most specifically in my right knee. So everyday life was okay, but if I tried to do any type of exercise, specifically running or squats, that right knee would hurt and swell and cause me a problem, and I would have to stop the activity or suffer the wrath of my right knee. I definitely started to get more frequent headaches. So the occasional headache that probably everybody gets from time to time became more frequent. I was taking Advil frequently, a couple times a week maybe, for a headache, and then pretty soon they weren't just headaches, they were migraines. Not a couple times a week migraines, but I'd say I'd get a good raging migraine about once a month, and then no medicine was going to touch that. Of course, I didn't know how bad all of those medicines were for my liver. I just knew they fixed my headache. I had no idea about the consequences that all of that ibuprofen was having on my body. I also had increased acne. So as a teenager, I didn't have very much acne, but I did have increasing acne flare-ups in my 30s and into my early 40s. Specifically turning into some cystic acne, hormonal acne on my chin area. And, I also had some swelling. So in my 30s, like in a person's 30s, their feet and ankles shouldn't swell at the end of the day, but mine did. So if I was sitting for a really long time, I remember taking a long drive up to Northern California, and yeah, people were worried. Like family members were worried when they saw the state of my legs, because they really thought I needed to get up and move around. All the fluid was kind of puddling there with the hours and hours of sitting in the car. Or after a long day of working, being on my feet at night when I come home and put my feet up, I would notice that my feet and my ankles were definitely swollen. But I had no idea that this was from my diet. Zero idea that that's what that was. I just thought it was aging, right? This happens to everybody, right? We all get old and our bodies fall apart at 30, right? Isn't that normal? That's what everybody says is normal. So I did not put two and two together. The battle raged on. So I continued that cycle, my mind fighting my body fighting back. And meanwhile, my mind and my body going further into disrepair. So I talked about the physical symptoms that my body was experiencing, but my brain was going into quite a sad state. So I've talked about this in other videos, therefore I'll be brief. But I had severe social anxiety. I was trapped by food. I was constantly thinking about food, and that would take up 80% of my mental bandwidth, because I was worried about what I was putting in my mouth at all times and how I was going to keep from gaining weight that day at the very least, and hopefully how I was going to lose some weight that day. So yeah, my mind had gone into a very unhealthy place, and as I said, my body as well. But I just thought this was aging. So now that I'm carnivore, this is the crazy thing, and I did not expect this benefit. This isn't a reason that I went carnivore. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I did not have a reason for going carnivore other than I just don't like vegetables that much. Like, they're okay, but I'd rather just have the meat. And that's what my body was craving. And so eventually everything else just kind of fell away, and I don't want those things anymore. But what was unexpected was that going carnivore, it took my mind, it took my body, it healed both of them, and it put them back in sync with each other. I no longer feel like two halves. I feel like one whole person. So it's like my body and brain are friends. And when I move, I feel confident and strong in my movements. For example, when I'm outside sprinting, I just feel strong in my own body. I am in control of it. It works in sync with my brain. And I also experience things like my sensory perception. I experience things, I notice things more than ever. So if you haven't checked out my 30-day sprint challenge, it's not just about my sprinting. If I notice something, I know, like the first few videos are mostly just about my sprinting, like days 1 through, 5 or 6. But then I really started looking around and I mean, just all the cool stuff. I mean, just on a cul-de-sac in suburbia, just being outside around sunrise, all the cool stuff you notice. And when my mind and body were not healthy, I don't think I noticed those things. And now I see them and I'm grateful for them. And that's kind of documented in my 30-day sprint challenge. So I don't think about food at all. My hunger signals and my satiety signals are on point. So when I'm hungry, I know it and I eat. I don't worry about eating. I don't worry about the fact that I have to eat. I used to hate the fact that I had to eat because I was going to gain weight. I don't worry about the fact that I have to eat. I'm happy to give that food to my body. And then when I'm full, and I go and I move on and do my other whatever it is, like film a video. Like right now, I ate a ribeye steak and now I'm filming this video. At the same time as I was sort of getting my thoughts together for this video, I was also watching a live stream and interacting with people on that live stream. And so I was doing a few things at once without a problem, without a stress, and without a care, because my mind is freed up and I'm able to be mentally so much more active. So I also now have fitness goals. I never had fitness goals before. I had weight goals. I had weight goals galore. And when I hit a weight goal, that wasn't good enough because I was never happy with the way my body looked, but I never thought about gaining muscle because that would mean gaining weight probably. I don't know. I never thought about it. I just only thought about losing weight. And if I lost enough weight, my body would look the way I wanted it. But that never happened. My body never looked the way that I thought it should look. So now, although my body probably isn't perfect, like no one's body is perfect, but I don't care about that. Like I am getting stronger. I know I'm putting on muscle. I can't wait to get on that scale and see if the scale shows it, but I can feel that I'm putting on muscle. If you don't know, at the end of my 30-day challenge, I have a scale that tells, muscle, bone density, all that stuff, body fat percentage. So I took those measurements prior to, and I'm going to take them post. And so I'm excited to see if the scale is going to show anything. But guess what? Even if it shows no change on that scale, I know my body's changed. I know it's changed for the better. I can feel it when I'm outside sprinting. When I'm sprinting down my street, at the beginning, I used to feel weak, sore. It was painful. I did it, but everything kind of felt heavy, but I got out there and I did it. Today was day 23 and I feel strong. I feel like I could sprint up and down that street without a second thought. Yes, I'm huffing and puffing at the end, but it just takes me a minute to catch my breath and I sprint back and I'm not dreading the next sprint anymore. So it's just amazing that with these fitness goals, I'm going to keep sprinting. I think it's been great for me. My next fitness goal will be, I think, planks. I don't know. I have a vote up on my community tab. So if you haven't voted yet, go do it. But right now, planks are next. I'm not going to stop sprinting. And probably when I'm done, I will go back to my weights and I'll probably talk a little bit more about what I do that way. But I'm excited for those things. It's not, I have to go work out because I have to burn some calories, right? It's working out feels good for my body. I can see the changes in my body. I'm experiencing it every day and I feel really good about it. So I also have the energy and drive, to attain those goals in case that didn't come through. So I'm not dreading it all. I'm just getting out there with plenty of energy, plenty of drive to go and do it. It's not, oh man, time to sprint. Like maybe in the first couple of weeks it was because I was very sore. And thank you to everyone watching that because you kept me on it. Like I knew I was going to have to post. And so I went and did it. But now I'm excited because when I get out there and I'm running, I feel strong and together and with it. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. Also, all those signs, going back to those physical signs of inflammation, those signs are gone. So no more acne, no more knee pain. I would not have not been able to sprint if my knee had been behaving the same way that it was. I can write on the whiteboard all day at school, grade papers, do what I have to do. My hand absolutely does not hurt. I no longer get those cystic acne breakouts, or I haven't gotten any of those in several months, and I used to get 1 or 2 every month. So those signs of inflammation, which were there, the ones that I knew about, and probably some that hadn't really reared their ugly heads yet, but I'm sure were brewing. I have type 2 diabetes in my family. I have dementia in my family. I have macular degeneration in my family. So some of those things perhaps were brewing. I also have cancer in my family. So a lot of reasons for me to stay on a meat-based diet for sure and keep the sugar out. Even now, even today, like literally today, someone asked me why I still eat this way. You're not overweight. You really weren't overweight, but now you're definitely not overweight. And why don't you just go eat what you want? I mean, they didn't phrase it that way, but that's what they asked. Because I was never overweight, they ask why I started, or now they ask why I stay on it. And my answer is it's not about the weight loss. At the beginning, back when I started meat-based keto in February, it was about the weight loss. But my mind was still in that disordered eating pattern. Now that I've really gone carnivore and my mental and physical symptoms have healed, my mind and body are no longer at war. They act in unison, in sync. It's not about the weight loss. It's about the health of just being a natural human, the way a natural 47-year-old woman is supposed to be. My body is improving every day. It is not going downhill the way people say. You get to a certain age and you go downhill. Yeah, that's not happening. I am definitely better today than I was 3 weeks ago when I started my sprint challenge, for one example. My energy level is, I can't give you a percentage, 1,000,000 times better than it was 3 months ago. I have energy to burn. I sleep 6 hours and then I get up and I go all day without feeling tired, without feeling fatigue. So, it's about the mental and physical health that I've gained just completely far outshine any of the physical weight loss that I've achieved. Yes, the weight loss is nice. I'm not going to say that it isn't nice. I enjoy fitting into my size 2 pants. That's great. But if I had to give it back and be my old size 6, but still be able to feel the way that I do mentally and physically with this new body-mind connection that I've discovered, I would do it. So if you haven't started a meat-based way of eating, it probably seems crazy. People, sometimes wonder, like probably all of us did at one point, like, aren't you missing important things from your diet, like fiber and vegetables and vitamins and all these things? And, some of them think, they asked me for my lab work, which I don't have yet. I am planning on calling my doctor, getting an appointment. I don't want to have lab work until I'm at least 6 months in to give my body a good time to adjust. So I will have lab work to show them if they ask in the future. But, think about this. What do you have to lose? What do you really have to lose? Are you happy where you are? Are you mentally happy, stable? Do you have anxiety? Maybe you can lose your anxiety, right? Maybe you can lose your food cravings. I don't have any food cravings anymore. Everybody I know has cravings. They've got to have someone told me today, I've got to have chocolate. Chocolate isn't meat, but I'm not giving up chocolate, they said to me. That was another person that I talked to today. So everybody, I think, on the standard American diet has these cravings. I did, and I don't now. So, maybe you could lose your anxiety. Maybe you could lose your cravings, and maybe you could lose whatever inflammation is bothering you, whether it's arthritis, type 2 diabetes, maybe you have acne like I did, whatever. Inflammation affects everyone so differently, so maybe you could lose that. So my advice to you would be, give it a try. Maybe you could lose something great. All right, I'm going to go meat wellness, one mind and body connection at a time.